Hello, friends, and welcome to LaRosa Reads. I'm Denise LaRosa, and today I am going to be reading some one-star reviews of my five-star reads. Let's talk books. All right, y'all. Last year, this ended up being one of my favorite videos to make, and apparently it was one of your favorite videos of mine to watch. I am back reading some one-star reviews of my favorite reads. This year, I'm focusing on my top 4 favorite reads from last year, 2022, finding those one-star reviews of those books, and, trying my best to stay calm. Let's dive in. So, the first book that we're going to discuss is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. It received 5 stars. In fact, it was my first 5-star read of 2022, and I'm a little nervous about reading these 1-star reviews. I already have some booktuber friends that have given some low reviews of this book, some poor outcomes, but reading these 1-star reviews might be a little hard. Let's see what we got. Okay, Gumble's Yard says, there are plenty of other reviews on here which rave about this, but as a believer in old-fashioned things like fidelity and faithfulness, I think I am not the target reader for this collection of ultimately really rather repetitive and anti-church short stories about unfaithfulness, adultery, betrayal, and so on. Oh, okay. I get this. This title can be misleading, but yet also very obvious. Yes, we're talking about church ladies, but we're talking about the secret lives of church ladies. And do you think secret lives are going to be, not scandalous? I think not. Secrets are secrets for a reason. So, yeah, if you're looking for, a book about praising the Lord and women of faith, this ain't it. This is about those women of faith who have a lot going on behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. Wanda, this is interesting. She said she listened to this as an audiobook. Aside from the narrator's voice, I couldn't stand this book. I really had high hopes too because everyone else who has read it really seemed to enjoy it. I got through 4 stories before I called it quits. She DNF'd it. Every story features a sad, lonely woman and a man who's not worth it. Okay, I get it. However, I really am over the whole black men ain't blank, and this makes black women bitter and pathetic narrative that sells so well. No matter how great the writing, are there no ladies of the church who get anything positive and uplifting from it? Are they really only worried about God sending a good man to marry but having sex with other people's husbands or each other in the meantime? I was very annoyed the whole time listening. Okay, I empathize with that. I think I saw the book for what it was. I saw it being about a particular group of women with particular challenges and obstacles in terms of romance and love. We're not a monolith, right? So black church ladies are not going to be all holy and sacred and there also will be some church ladies who have found a man or are living their best lives and love men and men are good to them. But we cannot ignore that there is a population of black church ladies that have experienced similar experiences in romance and love as these characters do. So I think it's like one of those things, if it's not your thing, then keep it moving. Don't even bother reading it. All right, let's do one more, y'all. Let's see what Laquita says. I have no idea why I can only give this book 1 star. I give this book all the stars in the world of book stars. There is so much in these few pages that it is impossible to say anything about it other than read it yourself and see either yourself and or someone you know written about in one or more of the vignettes that make up this work of the world, aka art. What? Laquita, I'm confused. and you had 4 likes. Y'all weren't confused? See, these are the Goodreads people that scare me. These are the Goodreads reviews that I'm like, did you read the same book I did? And how are you saying, wait a minute. Y'all know the kind of Goodreads reviewers I'm talking about that will give a book a low rating. They'll give it like 1 or 2 stars and they'll be like, chef's kiss, this book was everything, y'all. And I'm like, so why did you give it 1, 2 stars? Like, let's do one more because that one was Hot Mess Express. Laquita, honey, love you, but that ain't it. Okay. Lissy. Let's read Lissy's because it seems pretty concise. A very repetitive and depressing set of stories, all about sex and some of them borderline vulgar. Oh dear. I was expecting something different. I did not enjoy this book and would not recommend. So I think that's what's happening with The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. I find that the most low reviews are coming from people who were expecting something other than what they received from the book. And I can also see why that would be the case, again, if you're talking about church ladies. But y'all, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Now, y'all got some secrets too. And are those secrets not like a little sketchy, a little vulgar, a little like giving people a little bit of this? You ain't perfect. There are some skeletons in your closet. So don't even try to act like you are holier than thou. So if you see a secret, the word secret in the title, I don't think you should be surprised if there's a little raunchiness involved. Just saying. This one's going to hurt y'all. I absolutely adore Half Blown Rose, and I'm really sensitive to critiques of Half Blown Rose. I'm already angry and distraught that it doesn't have a higher rating on Goodreads. I really don't understand because the storyline was exquisite. The writing was just impeccable. The characters were just so alluring. I don't understand. So I know that these 1-star reviews are going to have me all up in my feelings. So here we go. Half Blown Rose. Man, 3.46 stars. Okay, let's look at some 1-star reviews. Oh, Bethany had a lot to say. Let's start with her. It felt like I was reading a reality TV show about one really rich lady having a midlife crisis while being surrounded by other crappy people. And no, I don't mean flawed individuals. I mean actually crappy people. She is crappy for having different standards for herself and her husband while they're separated and lying about it when him lying about stuff from before he ever met her is what got them into the situation. She is crappy for acting like she can't help having the affair when we all know that's not true. Her husband is crappy for not being upfront from the beginning. I feel like she would have understood the issue and possibly helped him meet his son sooner. Her friends are crappy to each other and encourage affairs. Lupe is crappy for getting himself involved with a woman who told him in the beginning that she might get back together with her husband. I couldn't even read most of this book. I only skipped to the last 2 chapters, so I won't be going into my book club meeting blind. The ending was horrid, not only for the format, why there are random sections of the book written like a screenplay I will never fully understand, and also I hate it, but for the way she acts like everything is totally okay and inviting her lover to the villa her husband bought her, while her whole blank family is there and her husband thinks they're getting back together is beyond crappy. And she lets her husband think they're getting back together when she's inviting her lover to stay with them. She's screaming, so, I had to reenact that. And as if she can have her cake and eat it too and keep the parts of each of them that she loves. Well, Bethany was not at a loss for words. There's a lot there. Apparently, she thinks the book's crappy and all the characters are crappy. We get that. let's just call it what it is. If you are not someone who enjoys reading about infidelity, and that sounds really ironic saying that you enjoy reading about infidelity, if you're someone who finds that distasteful in books, then definitely don't read Half Blown Rose. I went into reading this knowing that this was fiction. This was an escape. This wasn't real. This wasn't based on a real story. This wasn't like real people's real experience. So I'm not troubled by that. As a married woman, I'm not troubled by that because it's fiction. With that being said, there were people living wild, right? There were people making very poor choices. I think that for me, it touched on our vulnerabilities and our humanity and how people were just living for the moment, in the moment, and how that has consequences. So I didn't see her being perfectly happy and people in this book being happy with their choices. I think they really were like suffering the consequences of those choices, but also not letting it prevent them from moving forward with their lives. So I think it was juicy, salacious, and great entertainment. And I'm wondering if Bethany watches reality TV. Because honey, I think some of this is a little hypocritical. Because for those of y'all who love watching reality TV and all that drama, you shouldn't have a problem with Half Blown Rose. Just saying. All right, that was a lot. So maybe we can find like a one sentence, like a couple one sentence ones, because Bethany just took up all of our time. Shelly says, horrible, very juvenile. If I could rate it 0.01 stars, I would have. I think she didn't like that these older people were exhibiting young people behavior. Look, they were wealthy. And I'm not trying to stereotype wealthy people and say all wealthy people engage in this kind of behavior. But I think that was an element of the story for us to understand that these people, their reality was different than the average person's reality. So, I mean, yeah, they were acting a fool and okay, it entertained me. Last one, Eric. I know that lately it's become very popular to tell stories from the villain's perspective, but this one just didn't work for me. Lord, he said Vincent was a villain. Well, I wouldn't call her a villain. I would call her a hot mess express. But, different strokes, different folks. I mean, she did have villainous attributes, petty, spiteful, but she entertained me. That's all I can say. All right, moving along to Miss Benson's Beetle. What do we have? Let's see. What is going on with these 1-star reviews? Alex, I rarely do not finish a book. I can almost always find at least some small aspect to pull me through, whether it be a minor character that I like, or funny one-liners from the author, or just pure willpower to finish a series. This book was an exception. I made it about a quarter of the way through the book and had yet to find a character I could connect with or root for. Least of which was the main character, who I found irritating from the beginning. Even the writing style was uninteresting and could intrigue me in a literary sense outside of dry characters and dragging plot. Whew! Ouch! So listen, if you stopped a quarter of the way through, you missed all the good stuff. You had to hang in there. I found the plot early on to be intriguing enough that made me curious to keep reading. This is not one of those books that's hard-hitting and grabs you from the beginning, at least for me. I grew to love the characters as I learned more about them. I wouldn't even say that I connected with any of them, which is actually one of the things that made the book endearing to me. Like, these characters were way out there, and I was curious to get inside their heads and their experiences to understand them better. So, I mean, all the things that you didn't like, I actually enjoyed. So there you have it. Ooh, Lord, Morgan said she tried. I really tried to read this book, multiple times in fact. I just could not get into it. Maybe next summer when I have more free time, I can try again. However, I just couldn't get into the story. Second or maybe third? Heck, I don't know. Still can't stand this book. It's boring. I hate the main character. She literally complains about everything. Honey, you're in a dang rainforest. It's not the Ritz. Wow, that is really harsh, Morgan. You knew Miss Benson was struggling. She lost her father tragically. Why you gotta be mean to her like that? Didn't you see those babies, her students, that were treating her like awful? Like so awfully, like just tormenting her, making fun of her. And then you just had to like, just take that knife and just dig deeper into the wound? That woman was a nerd. She was lonely. She was aloof. She was lost. And then you had to talk about her like that? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. You need to give this woman grace. Okay? She is quirky. She is weird. But she deserves love. So, I don't like what you said. You didn't like the book? I don't like your review. Last but not least, we have the Song of Achilles. Okay. I can't help myself. All right, let's see what's going on here. I can imagine some people were pretty heated about a couple of aspects of this book, but I'm not even going to try to guess. I'm just going to dive into these reviews. Let's start with Saeed. Saeed says, words cannot describe how much I despise this book, but boy, am I going to try. Woo! He's taking this serious, like all the way serious. I was genuinely shocked at how wildly inaccurate Madeline Miller's interpretation, quote unquote, of these characters is. And I'm still shocked by the blatant misogyny, homophobia, and overall poor writing. What? What you been reading that you think Madeline Miller's writing is poor? Saeed, what you talking about, baby? Miller said she spent 10 years, the length of the Trojan War, on writing this novel. My opinion is that she should have spent a journey home as well before sending it off for publishing, or just given this manuscript to, I can't even try to say that word, treatment. I'm not really like knowledgeable in Greek mythology. Here are some issues I had, helpfully organized by topic. Oh gosh. You know what? I'm just going to stop right here. Because he acting like he is like an author. You know, like he's already acting like this is his literary debut. I can't stand it when Goodreads reviewers are like using the platform as if they're writing a book by writing about the book. Whatever. Let's go to Paz. What does Paz say? Paz gave it 1.5 stars. Oh man, where do I start with this one? I know that the big majority of people love this book. They cried and were heartbroken, and it was the best thing they ever read, and crap. But for me, it was just so boring. The characters were horrendous. If I wanted to read about the most useless, passive, and boring narrator being in love with this attractive golden god dude with no personality, and when he does have one, he just turns to a selfish blankety blank, I would reread Twilight. I've never read Twilight, so I don't know. Seriously, can Patroclus, I forget how you say it, be any more of a Bella? The writing was mediocre. The author clearly knows her stuff, but the dialogues were often ridiculous. The pacing was off. The story never seemed to end. Now I wonder how the blankety blank does an epic tale become such a bland, flat story. Okay, he goes on, or they go on and on and on. I'm done with you already, Paz, because Paz, you need a Pez. You need to like take some sugar and like lighten up your mood, because that was just Hot Mess Express. But look, Paz has like over 2,000 people agreeing with him. So who am I to judge or blame? Look, I'm not trying to say you're wrong. Everyone has a right to their own opinion, but I just feel like Paz was going on a soapbox, so I'm done with that. Can we find like wow, these reviews, y'all. I'm trying to find like a one-liner to like end us off, because this video is kind of going long. But all the people that have a problem with the Song of Achilles are on major soapboxes. Like they're writing novels in and of themselves. Like Lordy, you got this much to say? Let's look at Alyssa right quick because I'm curious about the LGBTQ plus community and their take on it. So I have some friends who are and family members who are members of that community who have read the book. So let's take a moment to read a little bit of Alyssa's review. I stopped reading the Song of Achilles a third of the way through. Here's why. I started the Song of Achilles with high hopes. The LGBTQ plus genre is fairly limited. Most of the genre is about high school students coming to terms with themselves, and 99% of all books with queer characters are romance novels. There is very little genre fiction that just happens to feature queer characters. Finally, Miller takes exactly the same approach to queerness that every other LGBTQIA novel takes. Only the Song of Achilles reads very much like the erotic fantasy of a straight woman. All right, let's stop there because one of my queer friends said that. And I wanted to know from his perspective, did Madeline Miller, this woman, capture this queer male experience? Because from her perspective, she's limited, right? We're all limited by our identifiers when we're writing about characters of another identifier. And he did tell me, if I remember correctly, he loved it, but there were some elements of it where her womanness came through in a way that didn't accurately portray a queer relationship. So I appreciate that from Alyssa. And that's the kind of review I was looking for here with these 1-star reviews, y'all. Some of y'all are just like, horrendous, ridiculous. Oh, give me some meat, y'all. Like, give me some meat. Tell me more. I want to know why, because I'm not one of those readers who is upset with people who disagree, like have different opinions. I actually want to engage in a healthy, like, literary conversation and know the why behind your choice. So, it is what it is. So time is running out on this camera, which means I'm done. So what did you think of these books? What did you think of the reviews? Let me know and check out last year's 1-star reviews of my 5-star reads video. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.